Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daycheck with Queen Bee Creations, and we're going to be working on some candlesticks today, and some of the bigger ones that I have. Just these things tend to go in stages. I will not sell any candlesticks for months, and then all of a sudden, almost every candlestick in the shop sells to different people, like 3, 4, 5 at a time. I don't know why. There's no rhyme or reason. It just happens. So what I do have are 3 pairs of candlesticks. So I have these big guys, this pair. They do have this the spoke in them. You know the spoke, the spiky thing for a pillar candle, but again, a lot of times people don't like this, but a lot of times, you can get them out. Not all the time, just sometimes. So this one had a plastic thing on it, so I was turning the plastic, not the thing. So I'm gonna try and get the spokes out. So I've got these guys. I have, this pair is very heavy. And then I have a pair of these, which are very plain. The little spike has already been taken out of these. Obviously used to be there. They're gonna need the least amount of work. These big ones have tons of wax. I don't know if you can see all the drippings, all the wax drippings. So before I try and even paint them, I have to get that off because the wax is going to work as a resist. So what I am going to do to these is I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to melt the wax and then wipe it away and keep doing that until all of the wax is gone. It is easier than scraping, and even if you scrape, you're not going to get all the wax residue off, but melting it and then wiping it away does. So I'm going to get that done on these and get the others all wiped down and cleaned off, and then we're going to come back and get started. I'm going to do 3 different treatments, so I have 3 different looking sets for the shop, because sometimes it's all about what's necessary. And right now it's necessary for me to get some candlesticks in there. I just added 3 single candlesticks, all that were done in a distressed white. So it didn't show you because they were all the same and done. But because I'm doing 3 different pairs and I want to do 3 different looks, I thought I'd bring you along for this one. So first, this is loud, so I'm not going to do it while you're doing it. But I need to start heating this up. For these candlesticks, which were already in really good shape, all that I'm doing is actually painting a very faint line. I'm using Cathedral Taupe, so it's kind of a taupey color, not a bright white. And I'm taking a small brush and I'm just going to paint it into the crevices. So you note, I am not taking a tremendous amount of care here because, there we go. I'm going to take a wet rag and I'm going to wipe away the excess so that it just sits nice and low in there. So that instead of just having the plain dark brown, which there's nothing wrong with that, I've cleaned these and I've kind of polished them up a bit. And again, you can clean this up with some of your dark brown furniture wax. It works great, but I'm just going to add the little bit of the accent to kind of bring out the details a little bit. So rather than simply adding distressing or white wax, know that on any of these, you can take whatever color of paint that you'd like. You could add, in something like this, you could take like a bright turquoise if you want to, and add that in to add a little bit of contrast in some of the details. So we're just looking at highlighting some of them. It's just nice, light, subtle, but that's it for this one because they're in pretty decent shape. Not perfect shape, but pretty decent. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that in to each of those little indentations and just kind of add a little something something to these guys. And just to give you a bit of a comparison, this is the one that I've accented and this is the one without. So small, subtle, but it changes the look. Now I'm off to do this one. Okay, we have 2 other sets to get going on. And I'm gonna do them in 2 different finishes so that we have 3 different finishes as a result of the video. Give you a different idea of different looks. Now, this pair that's exceptionally tall, we're gonna start with a dark, well, kind of a deep mid-tone gray. This is Fusion Soapstone. So they're getting painted out in that. And these guys, oh, this one is so very heavy. Very solid. These guys are gonna get painted out with cast iron, which is like a really deep charcoal. Consider it almost black. But this one in particular has the most kind of definite details. So this one we're going to do specifically to be able to highlight those details. So we're going the darker finish to be able to do that. So just before I do any of the fancy stuff, it's just basic painting. We're doing cast iron, dark charcoal, and we're doing the soapstone gray. Okay, so plans changed a little bit. I was supposed to paint these tall guys in soapstone, but this is the cast iron, and I was supposed to be painting this in cast iron. I started to, and then it wasn't dark enough for what I wanted to do next, so I flipped. I painted these guys in cast iron and these little shorter ones in coal black. I really needed it to be the black because the next thing I want to do, so here's the thing. You could at this point just simply take your gold paste wax, right? Or gold gilding wax. Amy Sloan has a gilding wax. You could use the DIY Golden Rule Gold. You could use a Rub and Buff product. So whether you go gold or silver, I'm gonna be going gold. But you could just do the gold and be done. And this would look very Regency, you know, like you're gonna have the black and all the details highlighted in gold. I was gonna do that. And then I decided that there was a lot of detail on this piece, and why not play and go a little bit funky? So what I have are little tiny stencil brushes, and I have mica powders. So these are kind of in some, oh, that's a lot, in sort of glittery colors. So this is a purple. And I've kind of pulled a purple and a royal blue and a green. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to apply this over my black. Now I'm thinking that I want to kind of layer some of these colors a little bit, and I will be sealing over top of them, but they really do kind of stay in place. And I just decided I just wanted to have fun. So, you know, you can take a bit of that, and let me just try. I want to see if I can layer them a little bit. So I've got some purple there, and then some, oh my goodness, a little bit of the blue over top of the purple. And it's all kind of shimmery and lustery. Okay, that's what I'm doing, guys. I've decided I'm just gonna go funky. So I'm gonna do this first, and then I will apply some gold. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it looks once I get this part done. But I just decided to have a little fun. And this really actually does stick on really well. Meaning it doesn't really wipe off once I've been attaching it. So I'm just going to continue on. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And especially once I get to the two-tone. All right, I have these done. I'm kind of digging them. They're different, I get it, but I'm kind of digging it. A little peacocky looking, you know, just the feel. I do want to add gold, but my gold is a wax. And so I would like to seal this first. So I'm just taking some Tough Coat, and I'm just going to be applying it. And I'm just testing out to see, does this wipe it away? So I'm just going to do this little upper part first and then let it dry to see. And because it's difficult to tell when it's wet. So I'm going to wait to see when it's dry. And if it hasn't wiped it away, which it doesn't look like it is, quite honestly, because my brush isn't becoming purple, then I will carry on and get this all sealed. All right, as a next coat on this one, I want to mix up. This is now, I'm going into my mid-tone gray. This is Soapstone by Fusion. And I'm going to add it to a bit of water to make a wash. I don't want solid paint, but you can see I have a glove on because I'm going to be using a sea sponge. So I've already wet this, so it's softening up. And it just saves me getting paint all over my hand and then trying to get that cleaned off. So we're just adding this to water. We're just creating a wash with this. Oops. Yeah, that'll be okay. And I am just going to dip my sponge in. I'm gonna kind of get a little bit covered, and then I'm gonna start dabbing it on all over. So a little bit of this is going to go a long way. You can see I haven't even re-dipped it all. I don't want to have it so that all of the dark gray is covered, but we will be doing another layer too. So we're going to have different details, different colors popping through. So sponge painting, old school, but a great way to add kind of some textured look to some of these pieces that already have a little bit of texture already, but when we don't want them to just be uniform. The nice thing about this is it's also super quick. These paint washes dry very quickly, so don't be surprised or don't feel like you have to wait forever, I guess, to be able to move on to the next step. So this time I have Pebble, which is a very light gray. And again, I'm just going to create a wash with it. And I'm going to do the same thing. I've got the same sponge. I'm going to get a new glove. And I'm just going to add some of this color onto it. Let it dry. And then we'll be back again. And you saw that it's like, I get that paint on this sponge and then I don't have to dip again. I'm pretty much just dipping the once. Now my sponge is a lot wetter, so we'll see. But I'm also not looking for it to go everywhere. So I'm just going to, well, let me, squeezed all my paint out. Let me show you this look going on. And it will dry darker. So I'm just gonna carry on, get that done on both of these candles now. Okay, next wash, and I think this is probably the last wash. I'm taking some of the brushed steel metallic from Fusion, and I'm going to mix it up and make it, again, a little bit runnier. Because I'm not looking for this to be metallic. But this definitely has a shimmer and a sheen to it. And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're going to apply this all over. Now, because this is in essence kind of gray looking, what this is gonna do is it's gonna add, I don't know if you guys are seeing, kind of a little bit of a sparkle to the piece more than anything else. So again, just gonna add this, let it dry, and then we'll be back. This is what these ones look like all dry now. And I just want to add little touches of gold. So I'm actually gonna use Golden Roll because it is a little more translucent than gilding waxes are. And I just really want this to be kind of a bit of a soft touch to this. Just kind of outlining. See the little bit of gold on that leaf? So just kind of outlining it more than anything else. So I don't want the gilding waxes and pastes tend to be a much stronger, more opaque look. And I'm just going for something a lot softer on this. Because, you know what? It's really about those mica powders. So I'm gonna get this done and then off to the side so that that gold wax can dry. And then I'm calling these ones done at that point. There should be nothing else that we need to do. They're just enough on their own. Okay, the last step on these guys, and right now they have very much like a galvanized metal kind of look to them. The only thing that I want to do, and I'm taking a really short, ratty, tiny brush and black wax. You can see I'm offloading, I don't need lots. And I'm just going to kind of use this to highlight in each of, you know, just down into the little crevices. I just want a little bit more of a contrast happening there, which will just kind of strengthen the look a little bit, right? We'll get more contrast, and it'll just, you know, just kind of enhance it a bit. But, so I'm doing it down in all of the lows. And it's kind of fitting with where all of that dark cast iron is still showing. Right? So you can see doing here, and then it's just light. I'm just enhancing it, making it stand out a little bit. I'll do the same down here along these kind of rims as well to highlight them, just so that we get a little bit more of that detail popping. Okay, let's take a look at our 3 finished projects. So first up was our simple makeover, right? A little bit of dark wax to, you know, kind of buff these up. And We just painted in a little bit of that cream all-in-one paint. We use Cathedral Taupe from Fusion to highlight some of the little details, the little grooves on these, and just, you know, very simple, but they look kind of refreshed and a little bit more modern. And we'll see how they do in the shop. The second makeover, okay, was not simple. It's a little bit more dramatic. And you can see, I think that you guys can see the detail with a little bit of that gold down in there on places and on the details. It's just small, but it just kind of makes it pop a little bit. And these are, you know, these candlesticks. Now, I get that the mica powders, you know, it lends a lot more color. You might have preferred them in just the black and the gold, but I wanted to give you guys a different idea of something that you could be doing. I don't think these are super bold. I think that they add a little bit of something to it. You have the opportunity to be able to pick colors that would maybe fit in your decor, that would kind of match, have a bit of an accent, but I think that they're kind of fun and they're still fairly subtle. They're not in your face, right? But I'm kind of loving those. I'm kind of having fun with those. So again, kind of a different finish and maybe something that you wouldn't have considered with mica powder. I got a big box of powders, 48 colors from Amazon, for me to be able to use in multiple projects. I mean, this is using them in one way, certainly adding them into resin if you're doing coasters or for some of your molds. I mean, that's pretty much a given. There's a lot of things that you can do with them. And this is perhaps a little bit of an out of the box idea, but they worked and they added a really lovely touch that maybe you would only get by doing like metallic waxes or pastes. Now, our big candlesticks, we did up with paint washes to be able to create kind of almost like a galvanized metal finish. I really like the extra touch of the black wax in there, just kind of blending a little bit more oomph or pop, differentiation between some of the details. When you do the washes and when you're painting something out and it's all kind of fairly uniform, a lot of the details disappear. So adding the black wax, just that little bit in some of those details, help them to be able to stand out a little bit. And again, I love how these look. They're not quite concrete because we added in that metallic, that kind of pewtery silver. It wasn't a bright silver that we added from Fusion, but what was it called? Brush steel. But it adds just a little bit, and it has a little bit more of that mottled galvanized metal kind of finish to it. And I think that, again, this is an awesome look for someone's decor where they're maybe accenting with a little bit of kind of that brushed steel or that brushed silver kind of look rather than a bright, really, really vibrant silver, but a totally different look. So I wanted to give you, I mean, I had to work on candlesticks anyway, and I really like giving my customers a bit of a choice. I will always have a lot of distressed white options because they sell, but I will also always have different looking options like this, and I've got natural wood candlesticks in the shop as well for those people that are looking to add the warmth of just natural wood in there. So I like to have a number of different options, and that's certainly something if you have a booth to maybe consider. But I wanted to give you a number of different alternatives and ways of looking at candlesticks for your home and for some of your decor projects perhaps, because you know, as much as distressed white may be a go-to in a lot of respects, you know, you may have a room where you're looking for something a little bit different. And, you know, these give you some ideas of different ways you could go. Let me know what you think of this one. Always love to hear from you, and definitely looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.